We really need to start talking about this no landing scenario. Not sure if you saw GDP now, but it's currently estimating that the third quarter will have a GDP growth of 3.4, I think 3.42%. Again, this is not my base case, but it is certainly something we need to consider, because if you are in a no landing scenario, again, you need to realize that the economy is going to look and feel very different. The first thing you need to understand is that rates will be higher, and they will be higher for everyone. That is the key that I don't think a lot of folks are really thinking about. If you guys remember 2 weeks, perhaps 3, we were talking with Ryan Pineda. Ryan Pineda put out a forecast for 2025 where he was essentially building a business plan for lower rates. If you are currently building a business plan where you expect the 30-year mortgage to, let's say, be 5.5 or below in 2025, and it ends up closer to 6.5 in 2025, you could, frankly, go out of business. An environment where rates are 6.5% is going to be very, very slow. And again, we're talking about cost of capital here. We are talking about real estate, but please hear me. A year where rates are higher for everybody, it's going to hurt small businesses. It's going to hurt new construction. It's going to hurt autos. It's going to hurt lots and lots of things. And again, my fear is we are going to repeat an environment of the early 80s where if you were employed, it wasn't so bad. But if you happen to be laid off, if you happen to be downsized, if you happen to be working for a company that just goes bankrupt, I think an environment where there are higher rates will mean longer time on the unemployment rolls. That is sort of my combo fear for the economy. Again, I say this as someone who experienced it, and it's one of my earliest memories, so it's not pleasant. It's going to be a tough economy. But again, in all situations where you understand that, it's also going to be an opportunity for investors. It's going to be opportunities for disrespectful offers. It's going to be opportunity for creative financing. In a world where the cost of capital is higher than everybody expects, everything grinds to a halt. And frankly, the only people that win are the folks like us, the folks that wake up every day and do the work, the folks that know we can write disrespectful offers, the folks that know we can get told no and show up again. This is likely going to be an economy where the Orat family gets some of their best deals. Because again, right or wrong, you and I do not care about cost of capital. We don't. I've said it many times. If I could snap my fingers and make rates 10%, I would. Why? Because you and I, we run the numbers with current cost of capital, and we only buy cash flow. So in an environment where rates are suddenly 10% tomorrow, as an example, we get big discounts or nothing gets sold. So again, it really is starting to creep up on me that we may have this no landing scenario, right? There's a lot of truth to the fact that we printed $8 trillion, and that $8 trillion is still out there. It's moved around. It's probably been sucked up to, the top 25, maybe the top 40%, but it's still there. We could still have, asset inflation. So again, I'm really starting to think when you start looking at these numbers and GDP and unemployment and all of those things, it could be like running in mud. I think that's what the economy is going to feel like in 2025. Again, we will keep talking about this. We'll look at the data. Maybe stuff changes, but yeah, with GDP now, posting a potential 3.4% growth, that's really good for the U.S. We're targeting usually about 2% or so. So again, something very interesting to look at. Let's talk about Blackstone. Folks, if you don't know Blackstone, their real estate leader, Jonathan Gray, is one of the 4 people I put on the Mount Rushmore of real estate investors. Blackstone, I think it was 9 months ago, it might have been 6, on this channel, we talked about Blackstone calling a bottom in commercial real estate. Again, Blackstone was ahead of the pack. Blackstone obviously plays in the Class A, probably even the Class A plus properties. And if you know anything about that market, if you listen to our conversations with Jonathan Twomley on Thursdays, that part of the market is functioning. It is trading. In fact, it is trading so much that Blackstone, in 12 months, folks, in 12 months, they put $123 billion to work. That's roughly $10 billion a month. The thing you got to respect about Jonathan Gray is when he calls the bottom publicly, he puts his capital to work. Blackstone is now saying we are off the bottom. They are going to be twice as active in the next 12 months as they capitalize off the cycle low. Again, you got to remember when folks like this are calling a bottom, you got to look back and what assets are they looking at. Something that I've tried to make painfully clear is, yes, the Class A plus, the folks that Ken McElroy and, Jonathan Gray and others like that, probably Grant Cardone, that part of the market is working. But that is such a small part of the market, and the rest of it, frankly, is still not functioning. We are still seeing Class B and Class C properties stack up. They have wish pricing. The cap rates are up, values are down. We have a huge gap between what buyers and sellers want. And again, go back to what we talked about at the opening. In a world of higher rates, lower cap rates, somebody's going to blink. If you take $1 million property, let's say it was $1 million in 2022 when there's cap rates were, 4.25, 5. And suddenly you blow that up to, 8, something like that. And then you adjust the NOI for higher vacancy, higher taxes, the NOI goes down. It's not unreasonable to see that $1 million property be worth $450, $500, right? If you have a cap rate that goes up 3 points and the NOI goes down, these properties could go from $1 million valuation past cycle to $500,000. The question about who's going to blink, that's either going to be the seller who's going to throw their hands up in the air and say, I'm out, or the bank. They're going to be like, we got to foreclose, we got to move on. And that's just not happening yet in the commercial real estate market. So again, lots and lots of stuff going on. We have to watch. It's all coming. So let's congratulate some folks for doing the work. Again, I want to congratulate, let's do this one first. David, congratulations for getting your first deal. Folks, these are the gold cards. These are the things that we send out when somebody gets their first deal. I want to congratulate you for doing the work. And Blair and Amelia, congratulations for getting your next deal. Congratulations. Your card will be going out in the mail. Folks, again, don't forget, if you close a deal and I helped you anyway, let me know. I'd love to give you some recognition and mail you a card. It's something that I keep track of and I think is a lot of fun. I don't know if you saw this, but there are 5 U.S. cities where the median home price is less than $300,000. I thought this was an interesting list. So we'll go for number 5. We got St. Louis. I know there's people looking at St. Louis in the group. Rochester, New York, 282. St. Louis was 299, by the way. Rochester, 282. Buffalo, New York, 277. Detroit, 277. Man, look at Detroit. And I remember Detroit and all those dollar houses. They have clearly turned around, done a lot of good things. They bulldozed a lot of supply. Now they are clearly doing some right things. And then you got Pittsburgh coming in at the number 1 spot at 245. I know Mark, the financial firefighter, does stuff in Pittsburgh. So number 1 city for homes under $300,000. Congratulations there. I do want you to know that at about 11 o'clock today Pacific, you can come right back here on this channel, and we're going to go live with the one and only Pace Morby. Pace Morby from Sub2 fame and I are going to talk. Love to see you there. Love you to interact. Love you to ask questions. Again, 11 o'clock. It will be recorded, so you can, of course, come back, but it will be live if you want to come back and join later today. You're obviously welcome to do that. Let's talk about the week ahead. The week ahead. What is happening? What's going to move the needle? I think there's several things that could do that. On Monday, still getting a lot of Fed speeches. I counted 3 Fed speeches out there. We will also get U.S. leading economic indicators. Again, will this be another report that comes out bullish and then we scratch the surface and it looks like a train wreck? I don't know. We will see tomorrow morning. Tuesday, we have another Fed speech. Wednesday, a Fed speech plus existing home sales. I don't know if you saw the forecast for existing home sales, but it is no bueno. It looks like they expect it to go down, down, down. Last time was 3.86. They now expect it to be 3.83. Good thing to know is I called this early. I told you we were going to break below 4 million, go below the cycle low of 3.88, and we did, and we are still putting in new bottoms. Probably the big report of the week is going to be the Beige Book. The Beige Book, again, is something that consolidates the 18 Fed districts. What is going on? Are they all in a recession? Are they expanding? Again, the Beige Book will be interesting for what is working and not working. Thursday, of course, will be the weekly unemployment claims. Will we see any hurricane impact? Will we see a spike back to over 250? Or are we going back to our trend line of 230, 235? New home sales will also come out on Thursday with an additional Fed speech. And then Friday, durable goods and consumer sentiment. So again, lots of stuff going on this week. Again, I'm really looking for cracks. I'll be clear. I do not want a no landing. I think a no landing, shockingly, is the worst outcome. Because one of the things that we need in our system is we need to clean it out. We need to cleanse the system. Because there's a lot of bad debt, a lot of bad deals. There's a lot of things that we need to wash away. We need to put new capital to work. And a recession would help facilitate that. If we have a no landing, it's going to be a death by 1,000 cuts as stuff comes out at different times. Don't know if you saw this, but there was a bank failure. Bank failure. Yep, FDIC took over First National Bank of Lindsay. This is a very small branch. In fact, it is one branch, so one location. Value of about $107 million. So again, pretty tiny on as far as banks go. The thing about this small bank is apparently they are alleging some kind of fraud. So this wasn't your typical bank run like Silicon Valley Bank or extend and pretend. This is a bank that, at least based on the articles I read, may have actually had bank fraud, and the FDIC took that over. So again, did have a bank failure on Friday. Friday's the day. Friday after close of business is when we hear about bank failure. So again, if you ever want to know, tune in to Friday afternoon and see what, if anything, happened. It's time to welcome some school members. We are growing. It must be the great value, right? 67 cents a day. Opportunity to interact with millionaires. In fact, I go live there tomorrow at 8 a.m. So come join school, interact with me in a very private setting, maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 20 people. It's the great way if you really want to have a conversation with me. We can do that tomorrow at 8 a.m. But let's congratulate Stefano, Amelia, Nikki, Miguel, and Elijah. We got 5 folks joining the community. Congratulations. Thank you for being there. You can just go to school.com, look for one rental at a time. I'll put a link down below later. But again, we are growing. Folks, I don't know if you see it there, but in the upper right corner, I actually had a logo created for the daily financial news. I thought that was pretty cool. That is the biggest it could be, but hey, we got it there. What else do we want to talk about? Oh, let's talk about what Fed President Bostic had to say. He's saying that the Fed will act aggressively if inflation rises. Thanks, Bostic. I would hope so. 2% inflation by the end of 2025. So he is calling his shot. Again, this is really interesting to me Because again, if you just correct for the shelter miscalculation, right? It is an outdated method. We no longer have to use these trailing 12 months. We actually have systems with up-to-date data. Rents are not going up 5% a month. Anybody who thinks rents are going up 5% a month needs to go see a shrink or a doctor. They're flat or down in much of the country. So if you simply correct for that error, we are already below 2%. And Bostic has to know that, but I do find it comical that they are not talking about that. Another point is rates to fall as inflation falls. This is, again, what I really want. I think the Fed's trying to tell us is, hey, more rate cuts are coming. That's what I really believe the Fed's telling us. More rate cuts are coming. In fact, the current odds for a November rate cut, right after the election, is 89%. 89% we will get a quarter cut. The other 11 is no cut. No cut. That is the other. And then the final answer, again, from Bostic, this is something I'm trying to get from all the Fed presidents, is where do they think neutral is? Because right now we're sitting at 4 3/4. And Bostic is saying, hey, neutral is between 3 and 3.5. So what does that mean? Well, that means we've got at least 5 rate cuts, perhaps 7, in order to get to neutral. And again, this is where a lot of the Fed presidents are putting it 3 to 3.5, except Michelle Bowman. Michelle Bowman thinks it has a 4 handle on it. So it's going to be a very interesting discussion at the next Fed meeting. I don't know if you guys have checked this out, but we do have a weekly newsletter, zuberletter.com. You can go there. This week, we wrote up an article about how buyers are sabotaging great deals. Yes. Are you sabotaging yourself? Are you working with an agent that's perhaps not working for you? Maybe they're doing something wrong. Maybe you could check in. You could follow up. Again, zuberletter.com. You can simply put in your email and they will email it to you once a week. Again, we don't sell lists or anything of that nature. Just another way to get valuable information out there. So again, zuberletter.com. You can go there and get that. Anything else we should be talking about? Let me look at my list. Oh, Dr. Torsten Slok. He's a famous economist. He's actually starting to talk about, guess what? No landing. Yes, this is becoming the talk of the town in the economics world. We really have never seen a situation like this, right? As somebody who studied the economy for 30 years, our business cycle has been rather predictable. Expansion, contraction. You can argue the amplitude, you can argue duration, but for 50 years, my life, the business cycle has been rather predictable, and economists have written papers on it and done all this stuff. An environment where we had a once in 100-year thing where we, basically doubled the money supply, or 40% or whatever it was. Most economist models don't work. They just don't work. We're going to have a lot of new economic theories, a lot of guesses, a lot of mistakes. But again, I think something that you and I started talking about last week really needs to be discussed. But again, even Dr. Torsten Slok, he's talking about a no landing being possible. In fact, he's talking about being the base case. He's not even painting the next step. Again, the next step of no landing, higher rates, less transactions, more unemployment, longer duration unemployment, more deals, more pain. So again, keep your head up. Again, make sure you got an emergency supply. Make sure you get close to revenue. I want all of you to take advantage of what is coming. It is going to be an environment where the disciplined, where the focused win. It's never easy. I'm not trying to tell you it's going to be easy. In fact, I'm going to tell you it'll be hard, but it will be amazing. You need to become a part of the family. Stay encouraged. One of the reasons I created school, and I think it's growing so much, is you would be today in a room of 300 people, all doing the same thing, all writing offers, all following up, all getting expensive insurance quotes, all, getting told no. It's all the same stuff. We are a community of people doing the work. You need to be in this community. You really do. It's 67 cents a day. I don't know why you're not there. And then, of course, come meet us in real life in Vegas, February 15th, 16th. VIP is half sold out. Again, VIP gets you 6 hours of networking with all the speakers and other VIPs, plus some other goodies. But general admission is just as valuable. My speakers will be there all weekend. I'm feeding general admission this time as well. That was a mistake on my behalf last time. So come see us in Vegas, just about 100 days out. So book your travel, save some money on airfare, hotels, because as we get closer, they will get more expensive. That's what I got for you guys. I hope you have an amazing Sunday. I hope to see you in a couple hours when we talk to Pace Morby. If I don't see you, I don't talk to you. Have a great day. We will be back tomorrow for the daily financial news, 7:30 a.m. Later.